Hey, thanks again for stopping by BuQeye BBQ. I thought today I would do a tour of my smokers and my outdoor cookers. So let's get started. The first two that I'm going to show you are at our little lake place that we have. So I have got a pellet grill, the Rectech Bullseye. I really like it. I've had it for a few months now. It was reasonably priced. It gets super hot. I've seen it get up over 700 degrees before, but it'll also go really low. I've done a pork butt on this that took probably 12 hours. So it really does a great job. Sorry for that pause. My phone was telling me my battery was low. So if I open it up here, I'll show you. The pellet hopper holds, I don't know how many pounds, but a good amount. I've got about a quarter of it gone now. So I'll fill it up here sometime soon. But you can do about everything. Does great with burgers. I will say the one thing I don't love about it is there's no grease outlet, and you do risk flare-ups. Even with that baffle plate in, there are a good amount of flare-ups if you're cooking something that is that has a lot of grease to it. So you got to watch that. But once you learn to manage that, sometimes use a drip pan or something like that, a foil drip pan. It works pretty well. So the next cooker here is my pit barrel cooker. I've done a couple of modifications to it, which I've done a video on, so I encourage you to check that out if you're thinking about a pit barrel cooker. The latest thing I've added to it is this barrel Dolly. So it's got 4 wheels on it. I think it was about 60 bucks on Amazon, but it's great. I especially love it here at the lake because sometimes if weather's coming in, I want to move it away from the edge of the deck. That way it doesn't get wet. So that was money well spent as far as I'm concerned. If you're not familiar with a pit barrel cooker, essentially if you take the lid off and you see the rebar there, you can use the rebar for hanging things, anything from ribs or chicken, and you can get all the accessories to do that. I think it even comes with some of those accessories depending on the package you choose. Of course, the grate will come out if you're going to hang a rack of ribs. But this thing is great with ribs and chicken. That's probably my 2 favorite things to cook on it. Although tonight I'm going to do a tri-tip roast on it, at least partially on it. So we'll see how it does there. I don't think I've ever done a tri-tip roast on it before, so should be good. The other modification that I did was this rubber grommet for adding a temperature probe to. So you can push a probe or 2 through there to keep track of the temperature in your meat. And I did also add the Tell True thermometer, just so I had an idea of how it was cooking in there. Again, if you're unfamiliar with the pit barrel cooker, the rebar and the holes that the rebar goes through are part of the venting system. It's all figured out by the pit barrel company. And also using that intake there based on your elevation above sea level. So when you set it right, it holds between 275 and about 310 pretty easily. And I have found that you can adjust it by using the intake valve at the bottom. If you need to cook a little bit less, I've gotten it down to the 225 range fairly easily. But it's sort of a set it and forget it cooker. If you want to cook at 275 to 300, all you got to do is fill up the charcoal pan and light it. I will say that lighting it, you got to do it the right way. If you get your fire burning too hot too early, it's hard to get those temperatures down where you want it. But once you do it a time or two, then you should be good to go. But for the money, this is a great cooker if you want to kind of go the natural route and skip a pellet grill. This is the way to go. It does a great job. I could do a Thanksgiving turkey on here. Whole chickens are great. Spatchcock chickens are great. You can even do burgers. If you leave the lid off and the rebar out, you can do burgers. It'll get super hot. If you were in the military, they'll add a military decal for you or emblem right under the riveted pit barrel sign there. So that's a pretty cool feature. They have 3 different sizes now. I believe they only used to have 2, a smaller one than this, and this was their standard size, which is something like a 30-gallon, I believe. And my understanding is they have a 55-gallon. So I'm resisting the temptation to buy a second one. And of course, the bottle opener on the side. So these are the cookers that I'm currently using at our camp. I'm always liable to bring another one here or order another one. So if so, I'll update you. And next we'll move on to the cookers that I use at our home. Thanks for tuning in. Let me take a moment right now to encourage you to press the subscribe button and be notified of any future videos, and then certainly please feel free to like this video if you're so inclined. So we'll be back when I get to my house and add on to this video. Thanks. Okay, we're back to continue our tour of my outdoor cookers at BuQeye BBQ. Now we're at my home. First one I'll show you is this Cuisinart flat top griddle. Just take the lid off here and show you. It's got what I believe to be cast iron cooktop. I haven't used it in a while. It needs to be seasoned. It does the job fine. It's gas powered. Honestly, I'd rather have an Evo, but for the money, this was worth it. Much less expensive than the Evo, but I'm sure the Evo is much better. But this works fine. I've done everything from burgers to breakfast on it. Few other things I can't even remember. Really simple to put together. Again, runs off of a propane tank stored underneath. The next cooker to show you, I've got a PK360 grill, charcoal grill. For those of you that aren't familiar with the PK brand, they've been around for probably more than 50 years. I'm not exactly sure. But their body is cast aluminum, so it will take a beating. I always keep it covered, but weather won't affect this like it might a steel grill. Intakes are down here, and you can adjust those from wide open to closed and everywhere in between. And the vents are up top. And you can actually use this as a smoker. I've done it a time or two by the way you set up the vents, the intakes and the outtakes. I do have a set of grill grates. If you're not familiar with grill grates, I would certainly suggest you look into those. They make them for all different kinds of grills, and you can sear stuff off really easily. The other side is flat, so you can do smash burgers on the other side. And my understanding is that every set comes with the spatula that works really well on it to pick your food up. So those are great. I've got a set that will fit the whole of this PK360 grill. I've only got a couple of them put together on here now, but there's a couple of in-between pieces that widen it out. So that's the PK360. Next, we've got your old standard Weber kettle. I love this thing. It's a workhorse. I've sort of relegated it to run a rotisserie now, so I kind of leave that rotisserie attachment in the middle here on all the time. Right now I've got the rotisserie actually in it. That's just an aftermarket kit that works on, as far as I know, any 22-inch grill, and I think they make them in different sizes as well. So when I want to use a rotisserie for a chicken, or I've done a pork roast, just attach it, throw your food on there, plug it in, and watch it spin. Sorry about my pause there. I lost my train of thought, but like I said, this is the real world, so I will not correct my foibles usually. All right, my next cooker I'm going to show you is my Weber Smokefire EX6. It is a pellet grill, really good size. That's one thing I like about it. It's really large, could fit a couple of briskets, probably at least six pork butts. There is a removable upper rack. When I first got this, I'm going to be honest, I regretted it for probably the first several months. I would have cook failures, It just would pile up pellets and lose its fire. Temperature would drop, and it was a real pain in the butt. Inconsistency is something that I hate in cookers. I will say that in speaking with Weber, they did what they had to do to make it right. They sent me some parts. I didn't have the time to install the new parts, so they actually sent a company to come pick it up. And ever since they have swapped out parts with new ones, this thing has run great. I have not had another problem with it, so for that I'm thankful. Another thing I don't love about it is the pellet hopper. It's kind of an inconvenient spot to get pellets in. I'm constantly spilling them behind the back and whatnot. If you're careful, you can avoid it. There's also a cavitation issue, so if you have a pellet smoker, you might be familiar with this. I don't think this is exclusive to this Weber model. I think it's just an issue that a lot of pellet smokers deal with, where there'll still be plenty of pellets in the hopper, but it'll develop a hole down to the auger and pellets won't feed in. So I've just gotten into the habit of coming out and making sure my pellets are evenly distributed every few hours if I need to. So that is the Weber Smokefire EX6. I love Weber products generally, and Weber has made this one right for me since I had some problems. I'm not sure I would buy another one if I'm being honest. I've had real good luck with my RecTech Bullseye that I showed you earlier at our camp. So I might stick with RecTech if I were going to buy another pellet grill. Speaking of pellet grills, there are purists out there that don't like pellet grills. They troll all of the Facebook websites making fun of people that use pellet grills. Cook with what you want. It's your food, it's your family. Don't worry about what other people think. Pellet grills are convenient. You don't have to babysit a fire. If it's running properly, you can get it loaded up with pellets, get it turned on, and it's pretty much set it and forget it. Is there as much smoke flavor as an offset? Probably not. We'll get to offsets later in this video. But it still works great. You still get the fun of outdoor cooking. You get a little bit of smoke flavor. And again, very low maintenance cooker. So who cares what other people think? The trolls out there can cook with what they want to, and you cook with what you want to. If you're going to have a one single cooker to cook outside with, I would recommend a pellet grill, regardless of brand. Get one that you like, and it's money well spent as far as I'm concerned. Okay, the last cooker that I'm going to show you today is sort of my baby. It's my Hunsaker drum smoker. The firebox is actually outside of it right now. It's called a Vortex, the Hunsaker Vortex, and the word and the name Vortex comes from that deflector that they use inside of the firebox. You just fill it with charcoal, light it up, and you can use this foot pedal down here for starting, running, and stopping the cooker. And you can control the temperature by the exhaust vent as well. So I found that I can dial this in easily anywhere between 250 and 325. They say its sweet spot is 275 to maybe a little over 300, and that's probably true, but it's very easy to dial it in using minor adjustments to the foot pedal and adjustments up top at the exhaust vent. Notice the thermometer actually goes down and into the exhaust vent, so that gives you the temperature essentially at the exhaust vent. I'm thinking of modifying this a bit and adding a rubber grommet like I did on my pit barrel cooker. I'm much more nervous to do it to this one, but I still think I'm going to do it. The other thing I'll show you is they have an optional thermometer rest. So if you have a ThermoWorks temperature alarm, you can set it there. Right now I feed my cables, my probe cables down through the exhaust vent, but that is why I'm thinking of adding that rubber grommet. The other option they have is the nameplate for the back side of it in case you're a competition barbecuer, which I am not, at least not yet. But I went ahead and got it because I wanted to put my my magnetic decal on there for BuQeye BBQ. So that is my Hunsaker Vortex smoker. Really love this one. It is what I consider to be my baby. By the way, if you open up the lid, you'll see it's empty right now. But it does have that heat protection shield for the outside of the smoker down low. There are several grates you can put in. The grates all, I don't know if you can see those notches, but they all fit in, so you have a lot of options for how high you have your food. It also comes with a hanging rack, so you can hang ribs or hang chicken as well. So there are a ton of different options. So with that, I think maybe the natural question might be, are there any cookers that I don't have that I still want to get? And I would say the answer to that is a definite yes. There's probably two more that I would like to get sometime. I would like to get a traditional offset smoker. I've resisted doing that because I really want a good one. I don't want to just get your standard Home Depot or Lowe's option. I really want to get a nice one, maybe Lone Star Grills. I've seen some good ones. There's several companies out there that make some really nice ones. And I'd also like to get kind of a big one. I was thinking at one time a 250-gallon one. Now I'm deciding that my wife would not like that. So maybe at least a 100-gallon one, 115 gallons, something like that. The other cooker I'd like to get is an SNS, a sear and smoke kettle. It's sort of akin to the Weber kettle. It does have a couple of features I really like, including the SNS, or the sear and smoke insert for inside, which I won't take the time to explain, but I would encourage you to look that up if you're not familiar with it. It's a pretty cool options they have there. So with that, that's the tour of my outdoor cookers, what I have now, what I'd like to get in the future. As always, thank you so much for tuning in to BuQeye BBQ. Please, if you haven't already, like this video, subscribe for future notices. My videography is bad, but it's getting better. At least I hope it will, and hopefully we'll put out some more videos. I am going to do a spatchcock chicken on this cooker. I've already got the firebox ready to go sometime later today, so you'll see that video. Thanks again for tuning in, and we will see you next time.